Alright, so what we have here, I sold a guy a gun holster on Gunbroker here not very long ago, and he wrote me back and he wants another one. He has a 1860 Army Colt that he has a 45 long Colt cylinder and a short barrel. He's only got a 3-inch barrel. Mine is still black powder, cap and ball, but I have the full 8-inch barrel. So what I'm going to do is mark it out. I made it 3 1/4 just so there's a little extra room to the edge of this piece of electrical tape I put on there. So that gives me kind of an idea of the maximum length I can go. My gun holster patterns I make out of old grocery sacks, and the way you do that is just, it's cheaper than making it out of leather to begin with. You just wrap it around there and draw out what you want and leave yourself a little extra for the stitching, and then cut it out of a paper bag, and that way if you screw up you're really not out any money. This design, when it's done, you'll see this piece here goes around the trigger guard and helps to hold it into place. It's what they call an Avenging Angel. Way back when, I think 1840s if I remember right, a guy named Porter Rockwell, they called him the Avenging Angel. He was basically kind of a hitman for the Mormon Church. And the design over the years has become very popular with gamblers and other people, and it's kind of carried over today with the small hideout guns basically that people still carry for self-protection. So anyway, to get started, you need a sponge and some water. You want to get your leather damp but not soaking wet. And I like to do both sides. Get the flesh side a little bit damper than I would the other side probably. That helps it to be able to fold a little bit, and it helps your tools stamp in deeper. This particular holster, the guy doesn't want really any tooling. He just wants a quick border stamp all along the edge. Kind of a line is all he wants. Let's get just a little more on that side. Alright. Open that up and lay it out where it looks like it'll fit the best with the least amount of waste. And you have this tool that they call a stylus, and it's got a little ball on the end. It works sort of like a ballpoint pen with no ink. All it does is mark a line on the leather. I just trace around the pattern I have. And then cut it out with I use scissors. A lot of people use a round knife. I'll show you that here in a second, but I come close to cutting my thumb off with one of those, and I'm a little bit leery of them now. On some stuff I'll still use one, but mostly I use a pair of really sharp scissors that are meant for leather. Okay, I don't know, can you see that on there? It's got that edge line where you can see where to cut now. This is a round knife, and you can either hold it like that, or I prefer to hold it like this and cut it, but it's razor sharp, and that thing, if you slip, it can really hurt yourself, so I don't use it very often. And these scissors, I've had these for dang near 30 years. They're getting a little bit dull. I do need to sharpen them again, but it'll cut 1/4 inch thick leather pretty easily. Alright, so now we got it cut out. And there you have your basic holster shape. That will go in about that deep when we're done. And my line is clear back here, so that might actually be a little long. I think it's going to be, so what I'm going to do here, well, let's see if I go into there. It's still going to be a little bit long. So what I'm going to do here is trim this back just a little bit, maybe a 1/4 inch or so. The back side I'm going to leave it long so I got more to glue to that way. Alright. Now bevel the edge. This tool here is meant for doing that. It's just kind of got a Y-shaped thing that's sharpened in that notch, and you go around the outside edge and it rounds the edge just a little bit. It shaves off just that point on there. Again, I'm only going to do the front side of this. The guy's right-handed. He'll be a right-handed holster. So this side, well, I'm going to do this part, but the part where the stitching is, I'll leave that for now because I'll probably end up trimming it off anyway. Alright, so that's done. Next you want a stitching groove maker, and this little elbow here, the very tip of that has a hole drilled in it, and it's sharpened right at the edge. And what this will do is it'll cut a line for the stitching to drop into, and that way it doesn't rub off as easy. You put this edge, the rounded edge, against the side of your leather, and that gives you the distance inward that you need your line at. So we'll start about here and just go like so. See that little piece of leather curling out of that hole? Alright, so that's done. And this tool, it does the same thing, only it doesn't cut a hole. It just presses a groove in there. It's just decorative. This longer side, you put that against the edge of the leather, and this side is actually what makes the line. We'll start it clear back here because this is the finished side. You have to push fairly hard with it. You don't want to slip because then you got a gouge in there that is hard to fix, if even fixable. Alright, then fold it back in half. Put your gun back in it so you can tell exactly where the edges are going to be. This will be the spine of the gun. Take your stylus again, and I just run my finger along the edge about where I think I want it, and use my finger kind of like that tool there as the depth gauge, and just run it right down along the edge of your leather there, like so. Alright, so this tool is just made out of an old bolt. It's got these two little ears that I ground into it that I use as a spacer in the same way. This side goes against the edge of the leather and this one draws a line. So I usually hold my finger against there, just keep it from slipping off too. But just go around like so. And that gives me a nice even border around the edge where the tooling line will go. With that, I don't know how good the lighting is in here. I don't know if you can even see that. Okay, then a swivel knife. I use these a lot. I've got actually 3 of them here. They all do different things. I got a pointed one and a flat one. This one here, it has 2 knife blades in it, and it makes the double line. Now, well, you hold them like this, and you push down and try to keep them evenly as you can. You don't want them tipped back or forth anyway, because then it undercuts. You want to try to keep it square with the right angle to the leather. So, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see at that angle, I think. But this comes along and it just makes a double line. Okay. Now, these little dentist tools. This one with the kind of a diamond point on it. It works really good for going along the edge and spreading that out and beveling the edges of these. Oops. Gotta be careful not to come out of the groove. Okay, I screwed up right there.
There we go.
This one here, it's kind of a half of a flower. You can use it like this, one after another, to make a border, or as you'll see here in a second, I spin it around and make a full circle out of it. Make a whole flower out of it. You overlap it down like that. And most of these stamps, you can get carried away with custom-made ones that cost a lot of money. And I've had a lot of these since I was probably 10 years old. They were part of an old Tandy leather kit. And they're kind of, I don't know if they're really around anymore or not. I think they've still got mail order business, but they've closed most of their stores, which is a real shame because it got a lot of people like myself into this, and it's kind of sad that they're not around anymore. Let's see. I'm going to touch this up just a little bit where I messed up. This is a homemade tool that I made out of a cow horn, and it works pretty well for fixing mistakes like that. A lot of times I'll use it too to polish the edge when I'm done. But this one, he wanted a fairly plain holster, so actually it's just about done. You need a belt loop. You take a ruler or a straight edge, and draw a line again with your stylus. And I've got a stamp here with my name on it, and that's kind of what I judge for the distance. A little dent right there so I can tell how far away it needs to be. And then back to the scissors. Okay, fold that over about like it'll be when it's stitched. Figure out how wide that is. I can go down to about here and cut a point in it. When you do that, if you look at where you're coming out at, it should be about like there. That way you can get it reasonably even. Not sure I like this piece of leather. I might go with a different one here, but finish up showing you how to do it here with this one. Go back to the edge tool. Okay, and then back to this one. This is the stitching groover. Then I have another stitching groover that's the same thing, only it's straight. They sell these as replacement blades. I just stuck it into a piece of deer antler. Just cut straight across like so. And then I like to make a little kind of a decorative one too. Go down about so far and then back up again. Let's see. Yeah, let's stamp this first. Right about there. This is a big stamp. Normally you wouldn't hit it more than once, but to try to get that surface area so it compresses very decent, I try to go in a little bit harder so I hit it more. Alright, now back to this one. This is that double border line. My stamp is a little wide because of these little ears. So I'll just go up 2 right there, skip it, and go the rest of the way. That one's, I'm a little off center, so I can just go right on past that one. Alright, fold that over, round these off just a little bit. This is another edge tool. It cuts more of a square cut. It's ground more square than it is round. And this one, I bevel the edge right there where it'll be against the leather. He wanted a cross straw holster. I'll put it, let's go a little bit less. Put it at an angle about like that. You gotta be careful not to get too close to the edge because that's where the stitching's gonna be. So, I've got a machine. I'm gonna run in the other room here quick and sew this and be right back. Alright, I'm back. We got that sewed on. This is a nylon polyester thread, so I burn the edges, the short ends, so that that'll turn into a little bitty ball helps keep everything in place and keep it from coming loose. Okay, got that done. Barge cement is really good stuff, but it's gotten expensive, so I've been refilling it with just plain old contact cement, and it works just fine too. I like this can because it's got the brush on it. Just slobber a little along the edge where your stitching line will be. Try not to get too much of it on there. Like that. Get the other side about the same. All this really does is help to hold it in place while you're sewing it down. It holds like crazy though. It helps the stitches as well, but mainly it's just to keep it from shifting or doing anything else. Okay, and squeeze it together. And let me run in the other room quick and I'll sew it together. Now that the holster is dried overnight, it's time to oil it. Use the 100% Neat's Foot oil. It doesn't matter what brand, but the compound is cheaper, not Neat's Foot oil compound, but it has other things in it that is really not that good for your leather. This has a nylon polyester thread on it, so it doesn't matter as much, but the old cotton thread, the compound would actually rot the thread and the stitches would wear out easier. What I do is I put it into a fruit jar and stick it in the microwave for about an hour, or not an hour. Yeah, an hour would be really too long. A minute, and just get it warmed up. It seems to soak into the leather a little bit better. Then just paint it on there. Let's see, let me take this out of there. Just paint it on there. Don't put a huge amount of it on there, just enough to cover everything. You don't want to, if you over oil it, it'll get soggy, and that's really not what you want. And when you first oil it, it'll be kind of blotchy like that. It won't be real even in color, but after everything soaks in, it'll even out. It's winter now and it's kind of overcast, but on a sunny day, after I get done oiling these, I'll just set them out there on the windowsill and get them warmed up. Make sure you get all the edges. And I even try to get the inside down as far as I can reach with the paintbrush. This one I can get the whole thing. Like I said, don't put a huge amount on there, just enough to cover everything. Something small like a knife sheath or a gun holster, you could probably get by with the compound oil, but the Neat's Foot, the 100% pure, is really a lot better. When I make saddles and things, that's all I'll use. Alright, now that's done. I just kind of wipe around the rest to make it a little more even. Put this off to the side. And then comes this stuff. It's kind of a wax and oil polish. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's got all sorts of different stuff in it. But it polishes the edges and gives it a more finished look. You don't need a lot. I just put a little bit in the cap when I'm doing this. Another homemade tool that works really well is doorknobs. This is a chunk of cow horn just with a doorknob on top of it. But just put your edge polish right on the edge of this. Like that. And then the round part of the doorknob, you got to push fairly hard and just rub it on there, and that'll polish up the edge and smooth everything, make it look a little more finished. And then the cow horn, I'll finish it off like that with it. Do all the edges first, at least I usually do. You don't have to, you could do the rest of the holster first. Yeah. Alright, now that that's done, I just take my finger and rub over the whole rest of it. That'll give it a little bit of a shine. It helps protect it from water. I mean, if you soak it in there, it's going to still get wet, but rainwater and stuff won't spot it as easy. And again, it just makes it look a little more finished. Really all there is to it. Once that dries all the way, won't be sticky anymore. Like I said, this barrel is too long. His is cut off about 3 inches long. So this is what it'll look like with his barrel in there and his gun. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry this one was a little bit long. If you liked it, think about subscribing if you would, please. I could sure use them. The YouTube thing is new to me, and someday I'd like to make a little $1 or $2 at it. Thanks again. Bye.